Everyone, and welcome
Hi.
back to
Hi.
Shadowbrooke. We are missing Alicia tonight, but everyone else is still present.
Yes.
Today is Sideplot session
Sideplots.
numero dos. So now the question is, hey, y'all, who's going first this time?
Coxcana City!
City, city,
City, city!
Oh my god.
Apparently, City's pretty popular.
I guess so. I guess I'm going
I
first.
mean, Nami's biased, but like.
I am
Nami is
biased.
very biased.
I am very, very biased.
Bias.
Nami's bias is a K-pop fan standing.
Yeah.
Mm,
How
So
dare you call me a K-pop
well,
fan?
I got
I can't believe Nami's a K-pop I can feel myself going to be murdered. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it.
sorry,
God.
what was that?
K-pop stan.
Incredible.
K-pop stan.
So anyway, City, would you like to go first? You've been, I think, volunteered for it.
I guess so. So yeah,
All
I'm
right,
here.
let me start the music. Nice. So anyway, last time on Shadowbrooke, you guys were taking your downtime. You were chilling out in your 2 weeks off, and you, in particular, you went to hang out with Krista for a little while, try and teach her a little bit about your fighting style, and you ended up being a fairly good teacher, even if you were not ultimately hired. And you guys went out and
Much.
fought a big fucking robot. How is your boy feeling right now? City? Where
Why
has he
did
gone?
you listen?
I can't believe he muted himself.
He, want,
Well, folks, I guess City's dead.
he wanted to avoid going first.
Did did City really just dodge?
I don't think so. He's not that kind of
No, I
person.
had. Sorry, I had to do a thing. I had to get money.
It's okay. I'm sorry, Chief.
It's
For
fine.
the
Okay.
pizza?
Sorry. Can you repeat all that?
No worries. So last time on Shadowbrook, you guys took your 2 weeks off. You chilled out for a little bit. You, in particular, went to help out Krista, and you did a pretty good job teaching her, even if you were not ultimately hired. And, of course, you guys went to fight a giant fucking robot. How is Chaboy feeling right now?
um. He did take the brunt of most of that fight.
Yeah, you
So
really just got fucked up over and over and over again, and everyone just it was
yeah,
it was that
yeah, but
one fucking like video of a bunch of volleyball players just holding up the single teammate.
that is essentially what happened. Yeah.
So how's he doing?
He's doing all right. He's looking forward to at least getting rest because man, he's just been taking a lot of hits
Sleeping
for
off the
everyone.
hits.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
he would like to rest. I don't think there's anything particular he has to do other than get his normal greatsword back,
Yeah.
which be later.
Hell yeah. So one thing that well, here's a question.
Mhm.
Does how does his rest look exactly? Is it just heads back to the inn and just fucking passes out, or are we talking like curls up with a nice book? Like how's his routine?
His routine before he goes to bed, is to at least to have enough food to eat, and then take a nice bath, and then once he's like nice and clean, then um he'll say a prayer to Vendria, and then he will just go to sleep. I don't think there's anything else he does I can think of.
Hell yeah. So you do all that. You get fat and happy. You get a nice bath in. The dinner at the Heaven's Glade Inn is actually pretty good. For like packaged dried rations, there there's some good food like packed away in the back of the Heaven's Glade Inn. You get like roast fucking giant ass bird leg, jerkied meat, couple rolls which are actually pretty damn good, and there's like a little biscuit in there too.
Yeah.
You get a
He's
solid meal in, and you get clean. And really, at the end of the day, that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, that's all he needs. If he can make it through the day and just be comfortable in his room and have a nice sleep, then it's all worth it.
Hell yeah. Remiel.
Give me 1 second again.
Oh, alrighty.
Who city better give me
Very,
pizza?
he's very popular.
Today is just everyone's like, yes, hello, city, and city's like, please no.
Thank you for that image.
Of course, I'm always here to provide.
I'm sorry.
Welcome back.
Do not apologize. It's all right.
Wonderful.
You can't help being so popular.
You're
So
so
Remiel-
popular, and I love you.
I love you.
Remiel finally gets a chance to get back to his room and chill out. And I imagine after getting just the shit beat out of him over and over again like that, he's out pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. That night, you dream.
Okay.
And in this dream, you are in a particularly familiar setting, actually.
Oh boy. I have to zoom out at the picture. It's so big. Huh.
It is the Order of Vandria Guild Hall. And you are just at the entrance, looking down this long, polished hallway. It's not really, like, quite the normal elven architecture. It takes a bit more inspiration from staunch, like, real sturdy human designs instead of the more artsy kind of elven architecture. It's at the same time like a temple of worship and a fortress. And this long entrance hall with paintings lining the walls of the Order's greatest heroes is almost this like... It almost feels like an armory almost, even though there are no weapons or armor present, if that makes sense. It feels martial in a way. And you are at the entrance of this long-ass hall. So now that Remiel's here in his dream space, what is he doing? This place is dead empty.
So he's looking around, like, because like everything almost kind of feels the same as like he remembered it when he was going through this area. Unless if is there anything different that is around him that he can notice?
Yeah, can you make me a perception check?
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, like, you didn't have to go super high on that unless you wanted some, like, smaller details. The big thing that has changed that I think Remiel would specifically notice is that farther down the hall, to his left, there is a painting that is not covered in a sheet. It is a painting of his mother in full plate mail, with her sword held in a standing posture. And beneath it, there is a plaque reading, Prudence.
And he kind of just looks up at her and, like, he smiles just because I think He's only seen the portrait like maybe like a couple times in his life, before it was like covered up.
Yeah.
Um,
Like he managed to get a peek every now and again, but
mhm.
he it's been a long, long time since he got to see the full piece of art.
Yeah, and he's filled with like just this feeling of like he's very like happy to just see it in full like this. It's a sight that he wants to be like, normal again instead of, the painting being covered up by a tarp.
Yeah. It feels like this should be justified. This should be how it is.
This is, it's part of what he is fighting for.
While you are watching this painting, you hear the doors at the front of the hall that you were just at. You hear them open. In
Mhm.
walks who else but your mother, standing alongside the High Executor, Vigilance, and behind them are a mother, an elven woman, a little bit shorter than you, who looks distressed, and a child who can't be older than 40, which would, you know, correlate roughly to a human's 8 or so.
Mhm.
And the little dude just kind of looks confused about everything. You overhear part of the conversation that they are talking over as they come down the hall. Well, where was the last place you saw him? I don't know. The last time that I remember seeing him was we were at home 3 days ago. Uh, we had just sat down for dinner. He he said that he had to go and check something. He never elaborated, and he did not return. And your mother and the High Executor uh, continue to walk down the hall, but give each other kind of like not knowing glances, but that one glance of being able to sympathize with someone that you're both hearing.
Mhm.
Yeah. And as they pass down the hall, um, another knight of the order, a scribe in this case, for not every knight is always in full plate and all that,
Mhm.
comes out holding a set of scrolls, and as the woman continues to describe the situation, he is jotting down information. Near the entrance to the training field, the courtyard up ahead, um, they stop and the conversation continues, but starts to drown out a little bit as your dream shifts.
Oh boy.
And once again, you you find yourself in this hall, farther up now, but this time it is though you have entered from another side door, and it feels different somehow, quieter, less lived in.
Mhm.
There is one person there with you in this hall, and you, of course, recognize her immediately, for you
Mhm.
have met her not long ago now, just about 2 or so weeks ago, in fact.
Right. Yo, Grace.
Vandria Gilmadrith is a very imposing woman, to say the least.
Yeah.
She is, of course, a drow, but has never really had the same taboo that other dark elves have in high elf society. Instead, she is different mostly by merit of shirking the whimsy and merrymaking of her kin and being devoted instead to pretty much the protection of the civilization that makes that possible in the first place. Her doctrine has always been, I am going to guard this wonderful thing we have made together so that my family and my friends don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at her across the hall, just sitting on one of the benches, she has a stern look in her eyes, but it's not entirely like withering, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Testament?
He instinctually like gets on a single knee and bows his head to her.
She slowly nods. So, I have heard that you have had something of, perhaps not a crisis of faith, but a bit of worry.
Yes. I'm concerned that certain aspects of my heritage have been troubling me of sorts. Sorry, I have to be right back again real quick.
No worries.
Yo, so like, you guys don't dream often? The fuck?
I don't dream every night. What, do you?
Yeah.
Bruh.
Y'all don't talk to God in your sleep?
Y'all don't talk to God every day?
Every day, every night, bro. Me and Jesus be out there like,
Just tight as hell.
I have dreams like every night, and if not, then it's like every other night at least, and like minimum.
yeah.
Really, like as a person, like as a human person, this is something you were experiencing?
Yeah. I remember a lot of my dreams too.
Yeah,
Damn.
I have pretty vivid dreams too.
Hey!
Ref is just an extraordinarily powerful person, I've
So is
decided.
Nami, obviously. If
All of you are
Nami also
powerful.
dreams a lot, then I'm sorry, fams. We both powerful.
Mm,
I only fucks with her now.
Anyway, welcome back, City.
yeah,
I
so
love to see it.
yeah, pizza's there. I'll get a slice a bit later. But
Eat cold pizza.
yeah.
Ooh.
So you were saying some aspects of your heritage.
Yeah, some aspects of my heritage maybe have been leading me to make decisions that I am not sure quite reflects what your quite reflect your what you stand for. I understand that I understand that killing others may is a bit of an inescapable fate that I have, but the methods of which I'm carrying out your orders, what it's I'm concerned that they may be I'm carrying out your will by
Blasphemous means?
yes.
Testament. Come, sit. And she gestures widely to the bench next to her, offering you a seat.
And he will go and take a seat. like a good boy.
Like a good Christian boy. I understand your trepidation, especially when it comes to death, and especially death in the case of those that you worry may have been possible to save.
I believe that certain souls can lose their way, but with the right amount of guidance, they may be brought back on the path towards something more good.
Unfortunately, sometimes we must make an active choice to watch the situation as it happens and ask ourselves whether redemption for a particular person is worth it, or whether they can be redeemed. It is not a nice choice to make. It is not one that I or any of my children cherish. But at the same time, it is one that we must acknowledge. This one that was troubling you, Bolt or his subordinates?
His subordinates. From talking with Bolt and seeing how he carries out his actions without thinking about the lives of the men that pledge their loyalty to him, I I had at the very least wanted to try and persuade them to find other means of finding meaning in their life aside from serving a man who only thought of his own desires. And I figured that if maybe at least a few of them would just leave and I wouldn't need to kill them, that they could find another purpose in their life.
Vandria pauses and looks away from you over to the painting that hangs on the opposite wall, which, as she draws your eyes to it with her own gaze, you notice that it is blank. But slowly, paint begins to seep from the canvas of the painting and forms a face, one that is vaguely familiar, a dark-haired man wearing a bandana tied around his head. It is one that you recognize as one of the skirmishers from the Downpour gang. Darius Grendel. 23 years old, human. Left to attempt to get rich quick so that he could finance his parents' food and housing. Deceased. And the painting changes once more to a man with lighter hair, this one looking a bit more youthful and less grizzled. Jack. I am admittedly not sure of his full name, or if he was given one. Street urchin, signed up because he thought it would be fun or perhaps some sort of adventure. Deceased. And again, she continues to show you these different members that you have seen die by either your hand or your compatriots, and She goes through deceased, deceased, grievously wounded, deceased, etc., etc., until finally you get to the picture of Bolt. Alexander Bolt Mirren, aged 56 years old, human, expertise in crossbow usage and siege warfare, quite adept in combat, I think you would agree. Crazed, obsessive, and quite capable of leading others who had good intentions down the path to chaos. What do you see here?
I see someone who was already long past the point of redemption when I first laid eyes on him.
Not incorrect, perhaps, but look again. This is a man who has in his power the ability to corrupt others, to make of a good situation, of pure intentions, something awful. Testament. You must remember, always, that unless you go out and begin a vigilante rampage through the city, striking down any who you see unfit, you are not the villain. The methods you use, the heritage that gives you some modicum of power, it is not a curse in the sense of being unable to use it or infected by some sort of heretical energy. It is a part of you, as my heritage is part of me. It is what we do with that that decides what we will become. And in you, I do not see a villain.
What do you see?
I see a young knight trying to decide whether it is proper to kill or proper to let live. It is that question, that pause, when your conscious mind asserts itself outside of the thrill of combat, that defines who you are. You have anger inside. Is this true?
Yes.
Why?
Because the part of me that I've shunned away for so many years is it's becoming something that I can no longer hide. And I'm just worried that just worried that
That it will take you
I'm
over
worried.
somehow.
I'm worried that the blood of the one who abandoned my mother will take over me and turn me into something that I'm not.
It is not an unfounded fear. Devilish blood has been known to cause some instabilities, though the question of how much is psychological or how much is inherent is up in the air. But I will tell you one thing. All of us are born into this world with advantages and disadvantages. For you, perhaps it is in your blood, or perhaps one of your disadvantages is a long life of anger that you have discovered. But that does not mean that you cannot use it. There is a time and a place for righteous anger against those who would corrupt good intentions. And she gestures to the painting once more. Against those who would see the world burn for their own gain. Against those who would destroy what we have built.
Remiel will get up from his seat and walk over to the painting of bolts. He looks at his eyes, those very cold and lost eyes that he saw up close not too long ago. He slowly places his hand onto the surface of the canvas, and the canvas becomes engulfed in flames. He steps back and lets the fire just consume the painting.
Vandria sits there and steeples her fingers as she watches the painting burn, starting to billow smoke up to the ceiling of the guild hall. And finally, she does speak again. Testament?
Yes.
I must ask. This power that you have found within yourself, I mean, do you believe yourself capable of controlling it?
Remiel takes a moment, and he looks at Vandria with his eyes as confident as he can present them to her. I believe this is something I can control.
And for the first time since she has invited you into this dream, this realm, you're not entirely sure, you see a wry smile cross her face. And I believe so as well. Turn it to good ends. Remember that your role is not to redeem everyone. We leave that for another sect entirely. Our duty is to police and protect. And thus far, you have done an admirable job.
Remiel smiles. It's very proud very proud smile. Thank you, my grace.
Go with my blessing, Testament. Remember your duty and how you must execute it.
I will.
And slowly the dream brightens again until it is a blinding white, and soon enough, it vanishes, and you are awake. The sun streaming through the window is stronger than it would usually be. And you look outside. It's like noon. Remiel usually wakes up far earlier in the day, like 7, 8, like not quite crack of dawn, but pretty damn close.
Yeah.
It's late. You have slept in.
Yeah, he's just like just rubbing like all the sleep out of his eyes, just like how long was I out for? He will get up from his bed.
You rise up from your bed, and I presume that he spends like a minute, getting ready before stepping out.
Yeah. He'll like go to the bathroom, like splash some water on his face, just to wake himself up, and then he'll get changed into his regular clothes. Yes.
So, once you've done all that... Jesus Christ. Let me just click that off. I
Thank you,
apologize.
Amber Alert.
Big
Thank you, Amber Alert. There's nothing I can do about that, child. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
So, once you have gotten dressed and headed downstairs, the inn has emptied out a little bit after the morning, breakfast rush, pretty much. And you see Valent and her daughter Arya just still sort of hanging around the front desk, sitting, chilling. They've presumably done most of the chores what need doing for the day. And Valent turns to you as you come downstairs. Oh, hey, you're... Wow. She
Good.
looks over to, a little clock on the wall. You're up pretty late.
Yes, I guess I just needed a lot of rest after last night.
Yeah, from what I heard, it was something. Well, I have something for you.
Oh, what is it?
And she actually rummages under the front desk for a moment and brings out a long wrapped package that you can identify from the shape alone as soon as it's on the desk. It is your greatsword, wrapped and just tied up with a little note scrawled across the paper wrapping it, saying, "Thank you. This was a joy to work on. Come back anytime if you need any more help. Leonis Svensson."
Remiel very. He's just kind of like on the inside. He's very very excited. He's a little giddy to get his sword back. He'll just take it. Thank you. Just, I guess he doesn't want to make a mess and take off all the packaging stuff. But he'll he'll carefully like just tear the package open and
He's one of those people that like takes apart gift wrap like very very carefully.
yeah,
Like
not tear into it. He'll just like kind of you know he's not gonna unfold like every little part of it, but he'll like just you know
yeah, one time like during
not make a mess.
Coralon Christmas, I can definitely see Remiel just like sitting there with a tiny knife, like very carefully undoing his presents because he doesn't want to make a mess. You open up the package and you pull out a gorgeous piece of work. It is indeed your mother's greatsword, or at least it was. Now, starting about a foot into the blade and all the way down to the ruby eye of Vandria that has been set into the middle of the blade, there is a long channel that goes like fully through the width of the weapon. The crossguard has been cut down on either side to not be quite as heavy and cumbersome. You can still choke up on it and be reasonably sure that you're not about to cut your hand off, but it's a bit more of a dueling style sword now instead of a proper, like, juggernaut sort of Zweihander style sword.
Mhm.
The pommel has been replaced by a smaller iron weight that has been faceted to look somewhat like, but not entirely, the pommel that was there previously. And of course, the entire thing has been sharpened and polished to a very fine sheen. Your weapon is now your own.
Yeah, like just looking at it, he's very like it almost kind of feels like it's just something that he's wanted for like a long time to kind of just now feel like the weapon he carries is his own, and like while at the same time it is something that he can like he can wield, that he can carry around with pride because it's something that is close to him and something from home, and but at the same time it is true. He feels like this is truly now his weapon.
That it is.
Hmm.
Valent kind of like beams as you open the packaging and get a look at your finally customized weapon. And Arya, being, like 12, is just in awe, like, holy shit, this is such a cool sword!
It's beautiful.
In
Oh,
terms of crunch effects, you will no longer take disadvantage on one-handed sword swings with this weapon.
yay!
So now, you can use your greatsword one-handed.
He very like immediately wants to try this out. So he will like leave the premises and just like he'll throw away the packaging, like paper and everything first
Yeah.
before doing that, and then he'll just head out and just say thank you. And he's gonna spend a little bit just practicing his swings, getting a feel for the sword.
You practice for a little while in that same, like, tiny little park that you showed off to Leonis in.
Yeah.
And it takes you a minute to, like, get used to it because unlike the almost, like, self-sustaining momentum of the big-ass sword it was previously, now you can feel the air rushing through the tip every time you swing it back and forth. But soon enough, you fall into a natural rhythm where it's not quite like a whirlwind of blades or anything, but you feel faster. You feel a lot more capable with this weapon than you ever have before. And it feels good. It feels like it's yours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Congratulations.
there's just so much like he wants to like do with it, and like just to kind of like already thinking about like what kind of like swings he can do and like everything, and just again like he just feels very excited
Stab
to
some
have it.
baddies. Murder Siegerson if he ever pops up again.
Yeah.
So there is one more thing to do before you have completed your side plot for today's session. And that
Mhm.
is, you've been expecting a letter, I'm pretty sure.
Mm, I mean, he's kind of been like held up by like everything that's been happening the past couple of weeks. He's honestly maybe forgotten it. I mean, he sent out like the first letter when he first got here, but now like he completely forgot, if he was gonna, get a reply or anything like that.
He completely spaced it.
Yeah, it's because there's been so much to do.
Um, okay, I think while Remiel is like walking around town, presumably feeling a lot better about his new sword, uh, he probably like passes by the basically the post office for the town.
Mhm.
And last time you were there, one of the like ladies that was running the place, uh,
Mhm.
you mentioned what you were writing, like, "Hey, I'm writing this to my mother back in Silvery Moon," and you got you got fawned over in that way that only old ladies can. Like, "Oh, he's such a good boy."
Yeah.
And while you're passing by, um, this lady sees you through the window and actually comes out to greet you with a letter in hand.
Hmm.
Oh, hey! Uh,
Uh,
you
oh,
forgot this? It came in like 2 days ago, actually.
oh, I completely just missed my mind. Thank you very much.
No problem. Apparently, your mother's very happy with you.
Uh,
Well, I would assume there was a bow and all on the letter, but whatever.
I, right. Yes. Thank you very much. Remy like just kind of goes off somewhere to, you know, like, as he's like walking away, he will open the letter.
You find a secluded spot to read the letter, and Claudia Larathan has never been a woman of many words. Like, she was affectionate as a mother and all that, but
Mhm.
she didn't say a ton. And her writing style kind of conveys this. I trust that you have made it safely to Shadowbrooke. I hope that my sword has served you well thus far, and I hope that wherever you are in your personal journey and your attempts to fulfill this ridiculous request of yours, that Vandria watches over you always. I love you. Love, Mom.
Mm. He's just has like this smile, like it's a very dorky smile, like just like like he's just happy that he's just heard back from her.
I got a letter from my mommy.
You're such a mama's boy. It's fucking hilarious.
It's kind of cute. It's kind of cute.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is Remiel's side plot.
Yay! Did not take like an hour and a half
This time.
this time.
All right. Who would like to go next?
Ref.
Ralph, are you being
Cool.
voluntold? I believe you might be.
I'm gonna point a gun at you.
Ref. Ref.
Ref. Ref. Ref.
Okay,
Ref.
before I do need to go pee.
You know what? So do I. I will be back momentarily.
All right.
Good
Hey,
luck.
Thank you. I'll need it.
Don't have a kidney stone while you are peeing.
Remember to drink water.
Yeah. If you haven't drinking water at any point during the day, please drink water now. This is the water break. Drink your water. But for me, it's a pizza break because I'm gonna go get a pizza.
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you.
I'm back.
Hi.
Can't wait for Mom to just harass.
I returned.
Welcome back.
Man, you pee fast.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So anyway, Molly.
Yeah.
Just... I'm sorry. I just had to goof. So, it is a wonderful day in Shadowbrooke. The sun is shining. The leaves seem pretty green. It is late spring. And it is particularly nice out today. How does Molly spend her free time, pretty much?
Well, usually you'd be lazing around in the forest, talking with. God, why do I keep forgetting his name? Give me a second. Don't give him to me. I will find it. I will read it, and I will remember. No, that's. Do you not have a sheet for him? Damn.
Are you talking about Casteros?
Yeah. Why do you have so many C names?
Well, actually, his name starts with a
Okay.
K.
Well, alright. You know what I mean.
Because,
Casteros.
because C is the first thing that comes to mind. Get off my dick!
I mean, it's alright. That's me with A's. So, yeah. It's either hanging with Casteros, talking about Fae stuff, looking in the library, digging into every single corner of books because it literally was the most horrible idea to have Molly be allowed to read books.
She is voracious.
She knows she knows of the meaning. Curiosity killed the cat, and honestly, she died once, so who cares?
Well, twice now. Almost.
Twice. So,
1.5 times.
1.5 times. So, another dying by curiosity won't hurt her. So yeah, it's kind of just been doing that. passing the time because, wow, this would take forever for a parade to get here.
Yeah, allegedly it's going to be a month or so. You're not entirely sure if that is correct, given that Castro seems just a little loopy.
Hmm.
But you have spent the last pretty long while reading and hanging out around the library a lot.
Hmm.
My question is, have you been reading that like medical book that you got from the
Yes.
library last time?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
She would have done that before bed a bunch of times.
Yeah, that sounds like her. Um, I think over time you've kind of picked up some interesting tidbits here and there on, how to mend wounds the old-fashioned way, and the old-fashioned way generally does not involve mushrooms.
No.
But it's still interesting and potentially useful information.
Yeah. Just in case she does have a spell, she can make sure that someone doesn't, bleed out.
Yeah. Basically, how that's going to work is in the future, uh, say if you, um, go out and find a injury on somebody, you'll be able to tell a little bit better about, like, hey, how did this injury get formed? How do I treat it? That sort of stuff. Instead
Hmm.
of the, like, it looks deep. So you'll get a little more detail on medicine checks in the future.
Hell yeah.
As for what Molly is up to, how often would you say that she heads out and like hangs out in the woods? Because you mentioned that at the very start there.
Um, if it's like if she notices that the day is going to be particularly slow, pretty often.
Yeah. Um, does she like take her books out there, stuff like that? Just kind of read in nature?
Sometimes, I would assume she was able to buy a notebook at some point.
Yeah, she can totally buy a notebook.
So yeah, she probably has a notebook, a little something to write with, and she just hangs out, draws mushrooms.
Nice. Uh, so Molly heads out into the forest, pretty early in the day with book in hand, notebook under her arm, just ready to go out and enjoy nature. How far does she go from town? Just like in the woods directly around it? Like, does she explore a little bit?
The first time she did it, she probably didn't go too far. As it went, as it's been going on, she's been going further. So it really depends how further that would be. Now that it's been like a while since she's been there.
Probably a fair bit out, like definitely beyond the point of being able to see Shadowbrooke still in the distance.
Mm-hmm.
But thankfully, if anyone is gifted when it comes to the matter of navigating woods, it's gonna be fucking her.
Yep.
So Molly heads out and she ends up finding something this time.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Oh, hello.
Oh, hello?
Hello.
Yes, indeed. You find something particularly interesting. Let me just switch this over right quick.
Did I find trouble?
Molly has not found trouble, but she's found something that I think, for a macabre, sort of strange young woman, is going to be pretty interesting. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
while she is out there, she comes across a pretty fresh deer carcass, actually.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to have been presumably, like, mauled by a wolf or something. Like, this thing has been ripped up pretty well, aside from the fact of, like, I mean, it's still got the same, like, basic structure. It's not de-limbed or anything.
Mhm.
But it is gutted. And to anyone else, I imagine this would be a very distressing sight. For Molly, what does she do?
Well, it's always interesting to see dead things, but it is sad that it's, an animal, but it be life. So, actually, if you could put on the map, where exactly she be?
Sure. So let me just... like around there.
Okay. So, Molly would have kind of like walked up to it, kind of just sat, not like right next to it, but kind of look at it in a way of like studying, like, can I see how it was killed by this way? Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle to the side. This way? Kind of like taking this opportunity, without judgment,
to kind of like study.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah, in that case, can you make me a medicine check to see, like, how well that goes?
Sure. Not that good.
It's not great. But, you think, like, from this side, claw marks, maybe? Or is that a bite mark? Eh?
This is why she needs to study more, obviously.
This is why she needs to study more. You spend a while poring over this corpse, and I assume that Molly is, like, kind of pacing around it, trying to see it from all different angles without actually touching it.
Yeah, well, eventually she would have gotten close and just kind of like, with probably a nearby stick, moved some parts to look. She would have apologized to the corpse, obviously. She's like, sorry, friend.
The old standby of poke a dead thing with a stick. So one thing that you notice as you continue poking around, quite literally, at it, as you do so, you notice a bit of that, like, spore dandruff that Molly has. You notice...
They're called spore flakes, thank you.
Spore flakes, yeah. You notice, like, a bit of that drift down onto the corpse, and a mushroom sprouts in the offal that has poured out of this deer. And then another. And this trail of mushrooms starts to work its way up from the disemboweled bits of this carcass up to the chest cavity, and then the fungi disappear inside.
Mm-hmm.
And after a little bit, as you're still, like, looking at this, you feel strange. Like, this body is a little fucky, but I can't quite tell why yet.
She'll concentrate on that weird feeling, try to pinpoint that, like,
You try to focus, kind of like you do when you cast your spells, and zero in on just this specific deer carcass. And as you're thinking and just trying to pin down this feeling, you see one of the muscles of the dead animal twitch. And then another, and another, as the deer starts to, like, kind of shakily move its legs.
Molly's gonna stand up and kind of just like put her notebook in front of her, like, okay, wait, hold on, am I being ambushed? Is this an ambush? Is this what's happening? She may or may not just go, seriously?
You actually get the specific feeling that this is not an ambush. As this thing, this undead, is moving, you feel connected to it in a sense very, very much like some of your spells in the past. You you think you might have control over it.
Just kind of like, friend, could you stand up for me?
The deer does indeed follow orders, though it takes it a minute to manage to get its legs under it and actually like stagger to its feet, leaving behind the gore that it had poured out of its chest cavity. So now you have a disemboweled deer friend who's just standing there, staring at you with cold, dead eyes.
Molly
It
will
is
slowly
it
approach
is
and just
unnaturally still, I should mention.
Molly just kind of like walks up slowly, pets the head.
The head is thankfully fresh enough that like it hasn't started to decompose. So yeah, you just pat it on its fluffy little head. There's like a little bit of blood near its mouth, but otherwise the head is more or less untouched. Just right between the antlers, little poop poop.
Give me a hot second.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to give it a name. Uh, hmm. I'm gonna call you Zinnia.
The zombified deer does not seem to respond to this, but like over this magical connection that you have pretty much, it's just like this little bit of acceptance, like, okay.
They got they got they got uh they got cold. They got cold. Okay.
They got cold, they got cold, they got cold.
Just to just to explain, zinnia is a plant that sometimes you can pick for graves
Oh, nice.
because themes.
Themes.
Yeah, so Molly's just like kind of bouncing, like I made a friend.
You quite
Oh
literally
no, I'm turning
made
like
a
Sierra
friend.
Gasai.
You quite literally
Oh no.
made a friend.
She just like holds one of her cheeks with her hand. Oh no, I'm Sia Gasot. Holds the other. Oh no, they're gonna kill me.
Um, you do worry a little bit about oh shit, this is technically necromancy. Um, but then you think back to some conversations you've had with your father, Maple. And Maple being a tree ant and a fae, not necessarily the keenest dude when it comes to undead, but at the same time he didn't like deny their existence or say, "Oh, those are abominations." Instead, it was just kind of this like sad acceptance, especially in the case of particularly unnatural undead like liches or the like.
I could argue
Undead,
Molly's undead.
undead. Technically, by some definitions, Molly might qualify as undead. Undead are not out of the cycle of life and death. They are a companion to it. An undead is not meant to be long for this world. It is not something that really should stay here for very long. But at the same time, the fact that it exists, that through magic it is almost a natural phenomenon, that, people can raise dead and the world will allow it in the first place. There is a certain way of thinking amongst druids that says that this is not just like completely opposed to the idea of being able to say no to more harmful versions of necromancy. Just as the trees might help a druid of a certain circle, or the moon might give another power, the Circle of Spores says that, well, much like fungi, the ground, the rotting leaves, the dead bodies, those are our domain. And that is what we shall build upon. And technically, under those circumstances, under that definition, doctrinally speaking, you're completely in the right. Undead are not a tool to be used lightly, of course. It is notably disturbing to other people. But the macabre adherents of the Circle of Spores know it as a necessary evil when it is used to their ends.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't have to bring it back unless it's a really bad situation. But, I mean, it's basically just using the meat and flesh and bone that was already going to the mushrooms and the fungus in the first place. This is just speeding the process along a little bit.
Imagine Molly's thinking over this like moral stuff by just petting.
Yeah, you get to like pet Zinnia while you're thinking of all this, and Zinnia is just stock still, like taking it.
Molly just kind of like looks at Zinnia. I'm just kind of like, well, you're not necessarily bad, but if I'm not going to be using you for anything, I don't think I can keep you. Sucks, because, well, you're my friend. But how about I help you find a better place to sleep? Like a patch of flowers, or somewhere a little less... She kind of looks around. Alone. Yes. That's how I'm going to use this time around. Because you taught me something, but now I need to pay you back. Yes.
Zinnia, while you say all this, continues to watch you with the same just staring gaze, no blinking. But whether it's, some little spark of brain activity still in this husk that you have animated, or just a sort of empathic vibe over the link, you think you see a little cock of a head.
All right. Through Molly's adventures into the forest, did she see any, like, little stray flower patches?
I think that's reasonable, especially this close to Shadowbrooke. The woods are a little thinner, this close to the town, so it is entirely possible that she would have found, like, a little area where the sunlight comes right through the canopy and focuses down on a patch of flowers, unhindered by bushes or anything like that.
And Molly's going to ask Xenia to follow and lead her to the patch, and then ask the deer to sit, and Molly will put flowers, like, kind of like around and I guess sort of kind of in, just kind of like on ear,
Yeah.
just in wound.
Yeah, Zinnia follows along obediently and takes a seat in this flower patch, just kind of like in that way that deer do, where they just sort of fold their legs underneath them. It's a lot more of a stately posture than lying over dead with your guts hanging out. And you start decorating Zinnia's ears and fur with a bunch of flowers.
And Molly is satisfied. She will guide the deer's head to lie down, as in like, okay, time for sleep. Time to go back to sleep.
You guide Zinnia's head down and you let go and let the natural cycle of life and death that you have briefly hijacked return to its original path. And the deer's eyes close, and it is still.
Now I'll kind of hold their hands on the deer for the first. Hold on, sorry. Yeah, there's been death along the way, and I mean she brutalized man.
She
But
fucking terrified a dude.
this is kind of like the first time Molly has faced death alone, and so she cries, but it's like not sad. It's just happy because
She
it happened.
she helped something along.
Yeah.
And gave a pretty much a random inhabitant of this forest a slightly more honorable and palatable death, in a sense.
And Molly will spend the rest of her time next to the deer. She'll write in her little notebook about Zinnia and doodle her.
You write in your notebook about Zinnia, and while you're sitting there, just, right around that little glade of flowers, just as usual, a couple of mushrooms like pop up around you where you sit. And in the open, like, chest wound that is still somewhat visible now that Zinnia is belly down, you can see that there is flourishing life there too.
She'll pet Zinnia one last time before leaving. Like, it's getting a little dark.
It starts to get dark, and Molly takes her leave and heads back to Shadowbrooke. What do you think, like, she thinks about that night?
As in, like, about the situation or just in general?
Just in general. What's on her mind?
Her dad. Seeing something die and just kind of, like, briefly remembering the first time she had that kind of fear for death was actually when her dad decided to fucking prank her. And she hasn't heard from him, and yeah, okay, Fae time's different, but like she misses home. She misses her time with, her dad and going out and getting pastries. And though, yeah, she has made one friend, she's unsure about the others. And though Remiel is a good friend, it's not,
It's not close yet.
no. And there's a lot of stuff that she's curious about, but she's unsure if she'll get answers anytime soon.
She has made a pretty major journey here, and especially it's especially shocking and jarring because her life before this was idyllic in every sense of the word. And I think as she goes to sleep that night, Molly is dreaming about the days she would spend in the Feywild. Just
I think
enjoying.
there's one. I just remembered this, and I think it's one thing that she touched on and then immediately tried to shove it back.
Oh.
Zinni and her kind of were. Well, I mean, Molly was, as I said, she technically died in the forest herself, and thinking like the reason she probably skipped right to her dad is probably that's how Maple saw her. Though with less gore, obviously.
I think that Maple's teachings, like his druidic teachings over the years, they might soften that blow a little bit. Because I think that how he taught it was basically everything has to return to a state of not being alive eventually. Whether it's you or me. When I found you and took you in, I'm giving you another chance at living. It's an extension.
I'm just imagining always recalling these memories.
Maple did not see himself as, like, monstrous for kind of sort of reanimating a child. I mean, you were the result of that. And you're amazing.
Yeah, Molly is pretty fucking amazing, ain't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what Molly's thinking about as she goes to sleep. When she wakes up the next morning, I have a question for you. Does Molly sleep with her window open?
Yep.
Well, when she wakes up and, rubs the sleep out of her eyes, yawns, all that sort of stuff, she looks over and she sees a small package about the size of a small hardback book that has been wrapped in very thin, papery material. It might be just like pulped leaves, in fact. And it has been tied up with a little bit of sinew.
Molly immediately runs over and picks it up. Just like, oh, hello?
You open up this little package, this little care package, and once you do so, you find two things inside. The first is a big ass fucking like shortbread cookie, the exact kind that you would used to get at the Elven Bakery over in the town you used to live by. Like this was one of the snacks that you got when you were particularly good, and Maple decided to treat you. And there is a square chunk of bark that has been etched with a message. Molly! Thanks for letting me know that you got there all right. I worried about you, but I'm glad to know that you got to Shadowbrooke all right, and you're having a good time. I know that whatever the Queen has you out there to do is important, but make sure you stay safe for me, okay? Love, Dad.
So I'm just gonna ask if I can yoink City for this next moment because I don't care what the fuck Ramiel is doing. Molly's gonna be knocking on his door.
Okay.
You just hear a little like
And Romeo will Romeo will answer the door.
again. If you look straight forward, you don't see Molly.
Looks down, sees Molly. Oh, good morning, Molly.
She has the biggest grin, but she's crying.
He just sees her crying. He's like, Molly, are you okay?
She has like the bark in one hand and the. How big is the shortbread cookie?
It is. It's
Sounds
about as
right.
big as her face.
Yeah.
Cool. So she has both this and the cookie, and she's just kind of like, "Want to share?"
I are you all right? You're crying.
Oh, Dad wrote back. She like gestures the bark.
He's like,
Um,
oh.
I think I'm just really happy.
That's great. I'm really happy for you.
I just wanted to share with a friend.
Thank you. It's funny. My mother also wrote back to me too, not too long ago.
Molly will like look in, like, can she come in and sit on the bed too?
Yeah, he'll let her in.
Yeah, she'll crack the cookie in two and give him half on the bed and just kind of like munch while staring. Just a nice quiet munch with Ramiel.
And
Nice.
and
Quiet
it
munch.
is good. Heron was a fantastic baker back when you were like living near him, and that has not changed whatsoever. It is it tastes like home. And even for Remiel, I should mention, this tastes like pretty good wood elf baking. Like
Yeah,
it's kind of
he's
a
never had like baked goods like this
yeah,
at all. So like, he's
it's kind of simple, but it's nice, it's sugary, it's like down home cooking.
yeah, it's very nice. Although like you kind of see a little hesitation in his face because it's like you're having like baked goods when it's like so early in the morning. It's just like what?
No, dessert for breakfast now.
This is okay.
It's okay. Just entertain Molly. She's having an emotion.
Yeah, maybe Remy will like ask her of just like like what did he say? Is he all right?
Yeah, she'll give him updates, kind of like, yeah, he's fine. He's just glad to hear from me, and 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 then explain, and then she'll also ask him how his mom's doing, and so on and
It's
so forth.
like she's doing all right. I mean, she's also happy that I'm here safely, and I'm just glad to hear that I'm all right. So I'm really happy that I got a letter for her.
I guess we're just getting letters today.
Yeah, I wonder if anyone else will get letters from back home.
I hope so. That'd be nice. If not, then I can write them a letter.
That's...
I mean, it's an idea.
And Molly will also show Ramiel her notebook and explain to him, be like, this is Zinnia, right?
of just showing the sketch,
Yeah.
like the sketch of just like the actual like of like a deer or like of the corpse.
It's on one page you'll see like, oh, dear corpse notes, and then immediately on the next page it's just like, dear friend, that has a little bit of weird decay on it.
Yeah, and he's just like he's a little sorry, but he's like, oh, that's nice. Did you find him in the woods?
Right. So You're my friend, right? We shared a shortbread cookie. We talked about parents.
Yes.
So you know, I'm a druid, right?
Yes.
I am part of the circle of spores. I deal with decay.
Mhm.
I can animate the dead.
Hmm. I see.
Though by our code is that it's not supposed to be a forever thing. It's kind of just a way to accelerate it and also help us. It's just our way of nature, in this case, decay nature, helping me. I promise I won't go turn like sea or such. Please don't kill me.
I, I understand. It's all right. I just make sure that once they you have no longer have use for them, to make sure that they're put to rest properly. I don't know if any of
well,
them would appreciate the bodies being used without the permission.
it's what I did with Zinnia. I put her somewhere nicer than where she was before.
Okay, that's
So
fine.
we can probably put, well, whoever you use, we can put a proper burial too. That'd be nice.
Of course, we can work that out when we need to. Just, I mean, you won't turn them against us, so I have no problem with it.
No, but yeah. So thank you for listening and sharing.
Thank you for letting me know.
Yeah, I feel like shocking you might not be the best thing. I wouldn't want you to faint.
Well, that, and I also wouldn't want to strike down any well, undead that aren't helping us.
That is fair. That is fair. Yeah. I'll give you a heads up if I ever decide to try to use that spell. Only if we need it. Only.
Right. Thank you.
She holds out a pinky.
Yeah. And he will grab her pinky with his own. Or actually, no. He's gonna look at the pinky and like kind of give a very like quizzling look, like, hmm? like
So this is a pinky promise. You're supposed to give me your pinky.
um, okay, like this. Sticks out his pinky.
Yeah. And then we link them together. She like grabs like his pinky with her pinky. It's itty bitty compared to his.
Yeah, and he's just like carefully just yeah.
And then we shake it a little bit. Like up and down.
Mhm.
And that's a pinky promise.
Hmm.
And she'll let go.
I see. I didn't know what that was till now, so I learned something new.
Yeah. She kind of looks at her. I probably woke you up. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. That's fine. I was already awake.
Oh, that's good. All right. She kind of stands up, brushes. Well, thank you very much for this. I needed a friend. Thank you.
Of course, thank you for sharing your snack with me.
She kind of gives him 3 little pats on the shoulder, and then we'll shimmy on out with no blanket and no pillow.
And not being a raccoon.
Yeah,
Not being a raccoon.
being a raccoon.
Molly heads out, and I think that is a good place to call her side plot for today. Complete.
Yay!
Also, if anyone fucking was like, are they? Yes, I was. Shut up.
Are what?
Other one.
I was tearing. I was so close to crying. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh.
I nominate Nami.
You nominate her?
I've been nominated.
Nominated.
Hahaha.
Actually, I take that back. Andrew goes first.
Hate crime.
What do you mean?
Oh Christ. Okay.
Andrew said I've been discriminated.
I'm sorry, Andrew. I believe that Ref now makes the rules.
All right.
So, how does... Let me just mess around with the music here for a sec. How does Nothus, like, spend his free time?
Nothus has come very close to death the past couple of encounters. So when they're not fighting, this man is relaxing to the max.
He is chillaxing all cool.
Absolutely.
I think Nothus has probably like done as any good Fey patron warlock should, and has like done his best to set himself up a miniature spa day in his room. Is this true?
As true as possible.
Okay, so Nothus has been hanging around his room, uh, and God, he has fucking needed it, man. He he literally like got so close to death that his patron had to boot him back out. And I think that's left him a little stressed. And I don't think it helps when he's like soaking his feet and doing a like self pedicure when he hears hello.
God, no.
And of course, the boggle, you're not even sure how it does it, but the door opens and there is the little bastard.
What do you want?
I don't know. I just wanted to come see you.
Oh,
I mean, I gotta keep an eye on you.
can you do this anywhere else?
Like, what do you mean? I mean, I
Like,
gotta be here to watch you.
there's only one way out of this room. This is. These are my hours.
Uh, and he like spins a second, just sort of like thinking about it, and nods. Nah, the Prince of Autumn told me I gotta watch you then too.
Great.
So, what you doing?
I was in the middle of a pedicure.
What's that?
You will never know.
Oh. He just looks down at the floorboards, all disappointed, like. Why not?
Do because no one will ever know. You're if you can take care of the slime problem, maybe, but not from me. We'll have to go somewhere for that.
Saying if you can get rid of the slime problem seems to have made him drip even more slime.
Yeah,
This is a creature that seems to be tailor-made to annoy the fuck out of you.
doing so well.
Hey, are you gonna give
Hey,
me a name?
would you leave if I gave you one?
Uh, sure.
Hmm.
And he's just sitting in the doorway, just like plap, plap, plap with his feet. And as per usual, just the goo is making a puddle.
I'm partial to Stinky. How are you feeling on that one?
Stanky.
Yep, nope. Hearing you say it is never do that. That is not your name.
He will not be named Stinky.
How about I don't name you? How about I never call you and you never come?
I gotta though, and you called me the other day.
Well, I think I just called you Boggle, didn't I?
Well, yeah, but like you called me.
Well, everyone has moments of personal weakness.
Jesus Christ.
He doesn't love them. I
He
do.
does not. He does not. The Boggle just looks kind of disappointed at that. Just like, oh, but we were such good friends.
How
I'm unmuting for one reason and one reason only. Called him Benry.
Benry? Benry the Boggle?
Benry.
Hmm.
And just kind of ponders it. Huh. Yeah, okay. Do you name this Boggle Benry?
I I have no idea what a Benry is, if this is
This is Benry is a reference to a series, Half-Life VR AI,
I,
in which there's a character named Benry, who is just
a little damn
who is
cat.
a determined nuisance.
Hey, you got a passport?
That is Benry. That has been linked in the chat. Yes.
God.
Wait, before you make a decision, I'm gonna quickly give you a couple clips because, like, I feel like you need to like at least hear it real fast just to know how annoying he is.
I love that this is what we're doing now. This is great radio.
I have to be educated.
That you do. So, where's your passport? So, where's your passport? See, it works. I can't tell the difference between those two voices. Yes, that video that has just been linked.
I just think it'd be a really funny fucking joke.
It would be kind of funny, I can't lie.
God, it really would though.
Are you going to name him Benry? This is like the Pokemon naming screen. Like, are you sure you want to name him Benry?
Sure. Um, I I think we're going to call the Boggle Benry Inker.
Benry Inker.
Mm-hmm.
Benry Inker. Yeah, okay. My name's Benry Inker. And he just nods to himself like, yes, yes.
And your side of the deal was you leave now.
Ow.
This. Aren't you sent by Faye? Isn't that how you're. Aren't you supposed to be good at deals?
Can you make me like a history check? I guess it would be.
For sure.
Name him LeBron. Thank you, Nami.
Oh! Wow.
No, the Fae aren't that good at deals. Where'd you get that idea from? 200 years of being employed by this bastard, but whatever. Uh, I don't know. And the Boggle just shrugs. Benry Inker shrugs.
Well. You're not allowed in my personal spa, but it might be funny to take you to one.
Okay.
We don't have any spa owners we dislike that much.
Are you just going to like go around town and spread your nuisance to be a public nuisance?
Well, he. Are there any spa owners in the area or like bathhouse owners who have been particularly nasty?
Not that you know of, but there is a fountain in the middle of town.
Oh my god. This is not the reputation that Nothus wants.
But it'd be kind of
But
funny, though.
would be kind of fun. Come with me. Do not tell anyone you are with me. You are not with me. I don't know you.
Okay.
Follow me.
Okay.
And Nothus is going to take Benry to the fountain, just toss him in there and sit at a nearby table and watch.
Nothus, you head down to the square, and there is indeed the fountain. There is like a small crowd of people, just sort of like milling about the streets. And on one side, there's like a priest, you think of like Ilmater, that is currently giving a sermon. And you just huck this dude in there and just like back off before anyone can tell it was you. And Benry Inker just starts swimming laps in the fountain, spreading this inky blackness behind him as he just goops all up in that fountain. There is no good way to say anything about Benry Inker and what he does.
Uh,
Sorry, what was that?
oh, I love him. Not this, not, but I love him.
So, yeah, I think that's how Nothus spends his day, just like watching people's mild horror as they see a Boggle swimming in the fountain.
Happy to share his pain.
So, unfortunately, you know that, yeah, this has to end eventually. You can't have fun all the time. Even though you have had very little fun given you have to deal with this little shit. And when you go to bed that night, can you guess what happens?
Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah. It's. It's him. You dream of a bright autumnal glade. Red leaves fall around you. There is a throne made of trevises and vines that has been petrified into a nice, sturdy shape. And sitting there in the chair, in a doublet and some, like, fucking foppish pants, with a head made of light, is the Prince of Autumn. Nothis! Well, a pleasure to see you, friend.
Oh, wish I could say the same.
Oh, Catty. Nice. So, I've been told that you have been up to something. Adventuring, are we?
I wasn't given any instructions. I'm just making money.
No, that works perfectly well for me. I just called you here to ask how it's been going. Know this?
Well, had to see you the other day.
Aside from that,
Aside from that, it's been, well, aside from that and that creature you sent me, it's been almost nice.
oh, your adventures too? I do remember you showing up here a couple of days ago, and I had to, uh, kick you back to the mortal coil?
Well, I had it under control.
Oh, did you? Because, as I saw it, you were bleeding out on the ground.
I had it under control. hmm
Well, so I want you to tell me about your adventures. What have you been up to since you got to that uh, town, whatever you call it?
Well, I accidentally traveled here with some strange people, and they're good. They're better than anybody you've had me deal with in a long time.
And what have your adventures, like, been about? What have you gone and done? That's what I'm asking, Nothis. I'm not really interested in any of your pathetic friends.
No, not friends, not friends, because then you would do something horrible.
Acquaintances, whatever, Nothis. Get on with it.
Well, we killed a goo creature.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hold on, hold on. What was the goo creature like?
a jester of sorts. Reminded me a lot of you. That's where I got the clown nose.
Of course. Um, well, my question is, was there anything out of the ordinary about him, aside from, being a bunch of goo in a clown suit?
He was very theatrical.
Hmm. And just fielding a little curious question here. Might he have used undead?
He might.
Hmm.
Was this a friend of yours?
No, 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 of course not. And more recently, what have you been doing? This this little thing. He, okay, you named him Benry Inca. Oh, I love that. And like, he wipes up. He raises a hand to like wipe a tear out of his non-existent eyes. Oh, so anyway, he tells me you were after some like bandits. Did you find anything interesting about them?
Not not anything that I think pertains to you.
You would be surprised how much pertains to me. So do tell.
Well, this archer was after artifacts, and it did
Artifacts?
something to him. Hmm.
What kind of artifacts?
A weapon? I'm not really sure what he was going for there.
Interesting. Can you describe it for me?
Well, we handed part of it to him. It was like a coin with a cog and attached to his belt.
Hold on. Just a quick question. Would that symbol happen to be a cog with a flame inside of it?
If I've been accidentally doing work for you all this time, I will find a way to kill you twice.
Whatever.
But yeah,
Huh. And for one of the first times since you have really met the Prince of Autumn, he seems contemplative. He's thinking. So, excuse me if I am a little bit behind the times on whatever time is. But how long was it between these cases?
God, but not long. A week? A few days?
Hmm. Hmm. I see. Note this. I do think I have an explicit request for you.
What do you want?
So, there are certain elements which oppose us. Much like that clown goo man. And I need your assurance that as few of those artifacts go to them as possible. Can you do that for me, Nothis?
We killed the clown goo man.
Oh, did
You're
you? Oh, la-di-da, apparently. He kills one undead and thinks it's done. Know this. You should know by now that that's not going to be that easy.
There's more of them.
There's always more of them. They're bloody inexhaustible, I'd say. Frankly, I'm not sure where they keep getting them all. But my point stands. The less of those artifacts that get into the hands of various undead or what have you, the better. Can you do that for me, Memphis?
What's in this for me?
Well, and he slowly leans towards you with a creak of the petrified vines that make up his throne. Well, if you do this, and make sure to keep an eye out and not turn a blind one when you might be able to help, I won't turn these new friends of yours into wooden statues. Deal?
I explicitly said that these were not my friends. You.
I explicitly said that these were not my friends. Look, Nothis, I have dealt with you for over 200 years. And you think that I can't tell when you're lying at least a little bit? If they didn't matter whatsoever to you, whether that is a matter of friendship, acquaintanceship, or some other relationship, then you wouldn't clarify that. Would you, Nelthus?
Fine, I'll watch out for your stupid artifacts. I'm not giving them to you, though.
Oh, I don't care about them. I just want them out of their hands. Those things are... Ugh. They're not right.
That's a lot coming from you, but fine.
Thank you, Nothis, darling. Now, wasn't that easy? Just to say yes?
One day, this is gonna come back to you.
What do you think I do when I'm not hosting your ungrateful personages? Do you think I just sit on this throne and gesticulate wildly at the forest? Know this. I know that things will come back to me. But they will come back to you too. We're in this together.
Is Noctis able to cast spells in this dream space?
What spell would you like to try and cast?
Magic Circle.
Interesting. To do
Uh-huh.
what?
Well,
Would you care to put a spell card out?
let's do that. Did that pop one out? No, it did not. Yes, it did.
Oh, there it goes. Unfortunately, it does require a consumed component.
Ah,
I'm not sure that you have 100 gold of iron.
yeah, he will.
So, you... Do you want to try and cast anything else in the meantime? Hello?
Oh, right, I changed my... This is going to be a bad idea for him regardless, but can he try to Fey Presence the Prince of Autumn?
Remind me what Fey Presence does.
It is a wisdom saving throw, and creatures that fail are charmed or frightened. He wants the Prince of Autumn to feel fear.
Can you make me a wisdom saving throw?
Sure.
Damn, okay. So my question is, how do you use Fey Presence? Do you just like fucking JoJo pose at them?
Would it be at all possible for Nothus to have a mirror on him? I feel like he would day to day, but
I feel like specifically he's got one of those like pocket mirrors that people use to like powder their nose and shit. Like the fashionable kind. I feel like he's got that.
he would just like to turn it at the prince.
For a moment, you feel a wave of unnatural fear wash over you. And surprisingly, even though you're in the presence of an archfey, one of the most powerful beings in this plane, you stand your ground, actually. And seeing that you were unperturbed by the magical force he just sent at you, the Prince of Autumn seems a little bit surprised. Well, I didn't expect that. Well, anyway, I should mention that trying to use the powers I gave you against me is. Can you say it with me now, Notice? A bad idea. No, hey, help me out. A bad
idea. Thank you. I feel much better. Not.
Wait, what was that?
What was? Oh, don't worry about it.
Well, so know this. I must say, you have been far more useful than I frankly expected you to be when I sent you out here. But you have been doing a good job thus far. Keep it up, all right?
Sure, whatever.
Wonderful. Well, if that's all, good night, Nothis. It's been good seeing you again. Try not to make any more unexpected appearances. Yes?
Try not to.
Wonderful. All right. Toodles. And the connection slowly fades out as you wake from your meditative trance. And you are back in your room in the Heaven's Glade Inn of Shadowbrooke.
Man, waking up angry cannot be good for his skin, but he is.
He has every right to be furious because, as usual, your patron has been an obtuse piece of shit. He's not very, how you say, helpful. So, is there anything Nothis does upon waking?
If he could sneak just around to make sure that his party members have not been just turned into trees for fun by his shit patron?
You peek out of your bedroom door early in the morning, and you see Molly, kind of like freshly having cried, just sort of stepping back into a room and closing the door. Your compatriots have not been turned into statues.
Alright. Nothus is quite satisfied by that.
Congratulations, you have survived another meeting with your patron.
Woo!
Absolute asshole. And I think that is a good place for Nothus's side plot to end for the moment.
Oh yeah.
Alright. Yo, Nami!
Hello.
Hello, how's it going?
It's good. I ate some soup.
Fuck yes. So, I have to ask. Vanessa's had some less than stellar time recently.
Yeah. I mean, she did get a message from her god that everything was gonna be alright. But, she's still feeling kind of weird about the people she's been made to work with.
Yeah, it's not exactly great. But there is one silver lining.
Yes.
And that is you wake up one day and you check the calendar and actually it's a very special day. Today is the Feast of Eventide. It is a Corellon based holiday where even when you were back at the temple, you got to basically take the day off and pursue whatever you wanted, especially the arts. It was a particularly artsy sort of, festival celebrating
Mm-hmm.
the whimsy and creativity of the elven race. So there is a little bit of silver lining. How does Vanessa spend her kind of church mandated day off?
Oh, well, she is gonna start her day off by hitting up that good library.
Hell yeah, what is she searching for?
Her favorite genre, historical fiction.
Oh, right, I forgot that she loves those. Yeah, I think she can't find it in the Guildhall library, but she heads over to the library at the Council Hall in the Guildmasters District, and she manages to find a couple of books of historical fiction. What does she find?
She likes a little mystery. Probably picked up something mysterious.
A little bit of the Boxcar Boys and and the Alamo.
Yes, that ye old Nancy Drew.
Ye old Nancy Drew. Yeah, she gets ye old Nancy Drew books, and it's it's really nice, actually, to finally be able to just sort of settle down and have a day of rest, one that she knows that she can take as rest.
Yes.
But after a while of reading, because I assume that she like heads back and curls up with a good book, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, she like sits by a window, all comfortable, opens up a good book.
Yeah. You have not received a sending message from your mother, Kithria Vandros, in a couple days now. But finally, one comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And it is very, very short this time, actually. It is just check the post office.
Okay. She will. She won't. Can I, like, hold a response? Do I have to respond right away?
Um, you do have to respond within like a couple minutes of getting the message, I'm gonna say. Like, you could wait for a little bit, but you gotta do it relatively soon.
Because she would check the post office first before responding. But I assume the post office is gonna take a while because you know how those lines be.
On one hand, I do want to, like, say that, yeah, it's a while across town. But on the other hand, I also love the mental image of Vanessa just dropping everything and fucking sprinting across town.
She wouldn't sprint. She would walk with definitely a pep in her step.
Yeah, I feel like Vanessa's the sort of person to power walk.
Yes, like she's gracefully holding her skirt and just power walking
That is
across town.
fantastic. Yeah, I'm gonna say that just for the sake of getting this scene, yeah, you can hold it until then. You head to the post office, and there is, in fact, a package that is waiting for you when you get there. Like, when I say waiting for you, I mean, like, there is a lady from the post office outside holding a basket, and when she sees you in particular, she perks up. And when she does so, she comes over and hands it over. Hey, you're, Vanessa, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, your mother, said to hold this for you until the, Feast of Eventide?
Yes, that is today.
All right, here you are. And she just sort of like gives it over and clasps her hand together. Like she seems the type to gossip. Like, you can just tell that from looking at her. She's got that old Southern mom sort of feel,
Yeah, she knows
and
everybody's business.
she knows everybody's business. And you get the sense that she cannot wait to see what has been in this basket, because there's like a little covering over the wicker bottom. There's definitely something in there.
Um, Vanessa would be the kind of person to like open these things in private, but she notices like the lady's eagerness and she just decides to humor her anyway
I'm so
and opens
sorry,
it in front of
Vanessa.
her.
Um, you open it up, and you see a couple of interesting things. There is a tightly bound scroll tied up with a silver ribbon that has been stamped on one side with a little seal, the four-pointed, like, cross star of Coralon. There
Hmm.
is a little care package of, like, muffins that just just look like exactly the sorts that you used to get from, like, the bakery back in Grey Elm. And there's a little letter in there. Are you going
Uh,
to check it out?
yes, she is.
So you take this little folded note that has been left in the bottom of this basket, and you unfold it, and it is a longer message from your mother. I apologize for keeping this until the feast, but I figured that, well, you would probably be busy up until then, so I wanted to wait until I was sure you would have a day off. I decided to send along some baked goods, and one special gift from both me and Dilbert. You know, Dilbert, the librarian. It wasn't.
Did you write it that way?
No, no, I'm just like doing this as dialogue when I shouldn't be. Your mother has a more like fastidious handwriting style. You remember Dilbert? He was the librarian you used to spend so much time with over here. This was not an easy gift to really obtain, but I hope it will serve you well in the interim. Let me know what you think. And there is a little PS on the back. Also, Dilbert says that he misses you and hopes your studies are going well.
Vanessa's smiling the entire time that she's reading it. And is there still time left on that message?
Yeah, this is like the last little bit of time. So, you have 25 words to respond.
Vanessa's gonna hurriedly say, "Thank you so much for this blessed gift. I love you, and please tell Dilbert I miss him too."
Oh, that's so sweet. You do not get a reply, as is the way of the sending spell.
Mm-hmm.
But there is still a scroll in the bottom of the basket that you have not opened.
She's gonna check out that scroll.
You pull out the scroll and unfurl it, taking off the little silver ribbon that's been binding it. And it takes you a minute before you realize what it is. You, during your time spent with Balbus Berkowitz, the weird wizard grandpa of the Worm Crusher Adventurers Guild,
Yes, Wizard Grandpa.
you have learned a lot about the wizard side of things. So you can relatively easily recognize spell formula.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of kludgy. It's a little difficult to tell how they meant you to do this, but what you're reading is a mixture of clerical symbols and hand gestures, and ones that are definitely rooted in arcane practices. And it is a spell formula specifically tailored to try and help you learn the spell sending.
Aww. Is this the D&D equivalent of when your parents finally give you a phone?
Yeah, basically. um, so basically, what I'm going to say with this is, it won't be instant because this is sorcerers. I should mention, I don't believe they naturally get the sending spell. It is not something that
Mm-hmm.
really comes naturally to them. But with enough practice, you learn how to cast sending, and you will have that as an extra spell known for the rest of the campaign.
Oh, nice.
It is a third level spell, so you will need to eat one of those spell slots to really get through it. but you can now send those 25-word messages yourself.
Cool. Do I add this to the list or do I get rid of lightning bolt?
You add this to the list. This is an extra one.
Nice.
You get this one for free.
Thanks, Mom.
So, presumably you spend at least a little while practicing that. But I also want to ask, how has Vanessa's attempts at studying with Balbus? How have those been going?
Um, I would say because Vanessa really likes Balbus and respects him, so she really listens to everything he says. I feel like she would have a better understanding of magic, more in like the wizardy way.
Yeah, you have a really weird and kind of stilted understanding of magic because you are
Yeah,
split between the instinctive sorcerer way of doing it and knowing a lot of like technically unnecessary craft that just sort of helps you wrap your mind around it.
yeah, exactly.
Like you I think that Vanessa's way of casting is specifically okay, I'm going to try and focus and emulate the exact conditions for this spell like they would be for a wizard.
Yeah.
And that has been working fairly well for you up until now.
Hmm.
So, you are in the Wormcrusher Adventures Guild, hanging out with Chaboy Balbus, who is still sitting in that rocking chair by the fire. You don't think his ass ever leaves. Um, but he is currently trying to teach you the specifics of how to cast a favorite wizard spell, Fireball. So, what you do is you will need to, well, assuming you're using any sort of, um, oh, what do you call it, material component, you will need to ball up the little crumb of sulfur and guano, and it will go into the center of your palm, right? And when you clutch your hand and extend your index finger, you will be able to target the spell. Draw a line between, and you are listening to this and you're like, where was step one? What?
Isn't guano like bat poop? What?
And you're like, okay, I put it in my hand. What? I'm not feeling shit, dude. And you try to follow along with his attempts at teaching you, and he's like, all right, so once you do that, you draw a line with your index finger to take aim and release. I'm not going to do that in here for obvious reasons, but in a combat scenario, that's how you would do it. And does Vanessa try to cast anything just to see how it feels, or how is she taking this? Because this does not feel Gucci.
Mm, yeah, Vanessa doesn't like she understands the explanation, but like she's not
Not
feeling
really vibing.
confident that this is castable, huh?
Not really vibing.
Not really vibing.
Um, you start thinking, I don't know about casting this, and does Vanessa like hide her emotions and how she feels like that, or is she like pretty on the sleeve about it?
She definitely does. She definitely is the kind of person that like hides her emotion. Like, yeah, she's she is. I can't remember the word. Constrained is it?
She has restraint.
Restrained. Thank you.
Yeah.
She restrains her emotions.
Yeah, so Balbus continues on his lecture of these are a couple of normal wizard spells and how to cast them. And you're still on Fireball like, okay, what how would I do that? How would I manage to conceivably like make that sort of magic flow? Because on this one you just were not feeling it. On
Mm-hmm.
previous lessons, like he's explained some other stuff, and you can at least see, okay, I can feel the inherent power in this and how this works, but for Fireball, it is not working, my dude. So
Yeah.
you continue to think, how would I do this? And I think at this point in her lessons, Vanessa has started to get a good enough grasp on magic in general and her intuitive like connection to the arcane that she can kind of feel things out.
Yeah. She can wing it.
Yeah, she can wing it a little bit, which is a very good thing for a sorcerer, I should mention.
She's getting comfortable with it a little bit.
And you're like, okay, what if it was faster? Like the beam thing and pointing at a location, that works. That works. I can conceivably do that. I understand how that would function, but it's too slow. It's too slow. And after a moment of thinking, you're like, okay, what if what if it wasn't fire I was launching? And yeah, your magic seems to be into that idea. What do you do with
Yeah.
that?
It's like, fire. The arcane is saying no to fire. Arcane doesn't like fire.
The weave not very good on fire. It is not a
Yeah.
fire day. Stars online can't do it.
Star said can't do it, not fire. Not today.
Not today.
She'll probably like rack her brain like other elements like water, no.
Ice? No, that's just
Gust of
water.
wind, no.
Uh, lightning?
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 Okay.
Okay. Oh, we're on to something.
Oh, the vibes are liking
The vibes are liking
lightning.
this.
Okay.
So you
Lightning.
you are over here improvising a spell for one of the first times, I think. And how does Vanessa do this? What is she doing?
Um, so when her brain thinks of lightning, like she just focuses on like the concept of lightning, like lightning hitting the ground, thunder, crashing, booming,
And you
like
feel
all the
this,
words she could think of that's associated with
yeah,
lightning.
just all these
As
mental images. And as you are doing so, you're
yes,
feeling this energy, this magic inside of you growing more and more tempestuous. Like, oh yeah, we're channeling the storm now. Fuck yes. And soon enough, you feel it in your fingertips like this baby's ready to come out.
Yeah.
What do you do with that?
She's gonna channel it, and then try to make some lightning happen carefully.
Carefully. What is she going to aim it at?
Uh, she doesn't want to aim it upward. She's just gonna aim it at a corner of the room.
So, you have pretty much for the first time tried to get into higher level magic using this idea of the theory of sympathy. Because you basically went, okay, what do I know? Thunder, all that. Yeah, okay, that's good. And you kept thinking on it and thinking on it until you were channeling it. And now that you have pointed to this corner of the room, finally the lightning shoots out from your fingertips, fucking Emperor Palpatine style, and proceeds to
Oh
leave a
God.
black scorch mark directly in the corner of the room, searing like the corner of a barrel, and just leaving a solid little crater. You have cast a not only lightning bolt, but a pretty damn powerful lightning bolt. And
She
Balbus stops whatever talking he was doing. You lost track a minute ago when you started thinking about this. Uh, but, Vanessa?
she she jumps a bit. She like breaks her composure and lets out like a little yelp, and she's like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry."
And once your attention is taken away from this, you feel that tempest inside of you start to disperse and become less coherent. And shit, this doesn't feel good. And can you roll me a d20?
Oh Lord, here we go.
And because it was a 10 or below on this one, can you roll me a d100?
All right. One. Let's see what the wheel's gonna say.
The Wheel of Wild Magic! For the next minute, all your spells with a casting time of one action have a casting time of one bonus action. So after like shooting that lightning bolt, you feel like lightning. You are fast as fuck, boy. And you're just jamming with the magic right now. You're feeling it flow through you. It is an uncomfortable feeling. It is not your favorite, but you've got a weird sort of control right now, and it's kind of wigging you out.
Yeah, I feel like she would like accidentally shoot off another lightning bolt again.
Fantastic. Yeah, she shoots off another lightning bolt, and like the barrel that she seared the last time, yeah, it just fucking explodes this time. Vanessa.
I'm so sorry. I am so very sorry.
Oh my. I. What spell was that? A lightning bolt?
I believe so.
Well, I didn't teach you that one. How did you do that?
I I thought about lightning and concentrated on it, and this happened. Again, I'm really sorry. I can replace the barrel.
Oh no no, that's perfectly fine. But hmm, that's very interesting. So And he pulls over that big book of research notes that he had pulled out last time and starts flipping through it. Oh, here. Uh, Interesting. So, uh, more simple magic tends to be, well, simpler to cast, yes? That's a general rule of magic. However, apparently, I believe that sorcerers have something of a different interaction with this idea. Less a concept of, oh, you have to do this hand motion and this hand motion and all that. More of, it becomes a matter of focus. So, you said you thought about lightning? And that happened?
Um, yes, I did. And she says that like kind of guilty, like sheepishly.
Balbus looks intrigued. He is not very judgmental, thankfully. He is less judgmental of Vanessa than Vanessa is of herself.
Yes, I figured.
Well, lightning bolt. I must say, for someone your age, lightning bolt's quite an advanced spell. And he shuts the book once more. So, is that how you've been using the rest of your magic?
Um, is it?
Um, I think most of the time with Vanessa's magic, she has been doing it a bit more methodically, a bit more wizardly, basically.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
And this is one of the first times that she has gone, okay, I'm vibing, and pretty much just done this instinctively.
Yeah, I would say this is definitely the first time that she's sort of let go a little bit of that, like, practice it this way. Okay, you have to do this and this and that hand motion and all that. Like, this is the first time she's, like, felt like, the flow of the arcane and had these kind of results, and
Yeah,
she's just as surprised as Valvis is.
yeah, you felt the weave like touching you for a second, and it was a feeling. Like before you kind of came to your senses and, felt guilty like, "Oh shit, I just broke something." Or I just fired off a lightning bolt inside.
Yeah.
You you kind of felt like I am remarkably fucking powerful. And you felt that link to the weave solidify for one of the first times in your life. And it felt good. How is Vanessa handling this, aside from very embarrassed?
Besides embarrassed, she's just sort of like amazed, like bewildered. She's not a prideful person, so she isn't like smug about it,
Yeah.
but she is sort of amazed with herself and these developments.
Well, I I wonder what you'll be able to do when you cast the rest of your magic like that. You do know Thunderwave still, and Shatter, Shield, all that?
Yes, yes, I do.
Hmm. Next time you're out in the field, can you do me a favor?
Mm-hmm.
let go a little bit and see if you can replicate the same effect.
Let go.
Well, yes, you seemed more natural. And, well, I must say, I didn't figure you to be the type that would fire off a lightning bolt in the middle of a lecture.
Um, she looks a little bit embarrassed again at that last part, but just like Balbus of all people telling her to like, fuck around.
Just
She
go
just
hog wild.
just go off, and she's just like that's new.
Just head to Cece's Pizza and get deep in the paint.
Exactly. Like this is like, you want me to what?
He had a doctor's note, and the doctor just told him to go all out. Yeah, it's basically that. Yeah, so that is how Vanessa learns Lightning Bolt. Slowly but surely, she is tapping into this sorceress power. And it feels fucking weird.
Yep, it's definitely still weird and foreign, but she is slowly getting a better understanding of it with every lesson. And, trying out the spells in the field and stuff.
Yeah. So I assume, aside from her lessons with Balbus, she's going to continue studying the sending scroll that she's been given, and
Mm-hmm.
practicing every now and again to see if she can keep her skills sharp and just sort of tap into that same power.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as easy when you're trying to do it,
Yes,
but
exactly.
you start to get there. You're working on it. And in the future, you may be able to cast even more powerful spells. But for now, yeah, you know Lightning Bolt.
I know Lightning Bolt.
Well, I think
Killing my
that
level.
I think that is a fantastic place to end this side plot and this session for the moment. Of course, we will have to get to Alicia and Lucia's side plot next time here on Shadowbrooke. But for now, I have been your DM for the evening, and I will see you next time.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye bye.
Bye.